Detroit's Cass Corridor, it's the Metro on WDET. I'm Tia Graham. This hour, we're talking Concert of Colors. Then, we revisit a conversation about the Negro Baseball League ahead of the MLB All-Star break. But first, this year marks the 35th anniversary for the nation's longest-running free global music festival, the Concert of Colors. It's also the first year the festival has taken place without the beloved Ismael Ahmed at the helm. Ismael passed away earlier this year, and the festival is honoring Ismael in several ways this week. I'm joined in studio by Njia Kai, the organizer for Concert of Colors. And the Concert of Colors starts tomorrow and runs through Sunday. You can see the full lineup at concertofcolors.com, and there's also going to be a live performance from pianist Michael Malice on WDET this week. It's Friday during In the Groove, hosted by Ryan Patrick Hooper, between noon and 3. And Njia, welcome to the Metro.
Thank you, Tia. Really happy to be here.
Happy to have you here. Now, let's start with the music. I want to hear about the international or national performers coming, but let's start local. What local bands are you looking forward to seeing at this year's festival?
You know, that's one of our favoriteest things is that we emphasize the fact that when you do a world music festival, you have to include yourself as part of that world. And so absolutely, we are featuring a number of local artists. We'll be beginning that on Thursday with Joan Belgrave and Bill Meyer, as well as the Next Generation Funk Brothers led by Ralph Armstrong, who will be on the plaza at the Historical Museum. That's going to make a lovely evening of Motown favorites. I know folks will want to be there.
That sounds so lovely. If you haven't seen Joan or even Ralph, I mean, absolutely amazing to see live. And every single year, you know, you are bringing in those local artists, of course, but you're also bringing in large names. And this year, one of the largest names I keep hearing, Sheila E.
You heard Sheila E. Yeah, she's going to close out the full festival. That'll be on Sunday evening on the North Lawn of the DIA. And we expect Detroit to show out and show up and make her feel good while we're feeling good with her music.
Now, for folks who aren't familiar with Sheila E., can you give them just a little background?
Well, you know, she was born into a family of musicians. And at the time that she kind of came out, it was very unusual for a woman, especially a little pretty lady like herself, to step out with those drumsticks and mallets and kill those drums, which is what she's been doing for quite some time. They even nicknamed her the Queen of Percussion. And so she will be here bringing those rhythms, and we'll really, I love the fact that we're closing out on an up-tempo dance, you know, inspired set of rhythms that all of us can enjoy to just seal the deal for this year's festival.
Indeed. And there are also international bands, of course. We talked about that. Sheila E. from the States. Then we also have our local Detroit bands that are going to be performing. But then you have folks from across the globe. Are there any that stand out to you in particular?
Well, of course, we do want to recognize that opening or performing, I should say, before Sheila E. will be Steel Pulse. Steel Pulse is a UK-based reggae band that has been together for 50 years. And they are on a world tour called Reggae Against Racism. Wow. And so they're coming in to bring their old favorites and some of the new pieces that they have composed for this theme. And so with Steel Pulse and then Sheila E., anybody who doesn't leave here, uplifted, inspired, ready to do what we got to do and enjoy it while we're doing it, then I'll have to talk. They can pull me on the side and we can talk.
I don't know how any person can sit still during those performances, that closing evening on Sunday. Now, what goes into bringing those international bands here? Like, how do you reach out to someone like Steel Pulse?
Well, you know, luckily, I've been in the business for a little while programming events, and that causes people to get in touch with me. And that's really how I found out about their tour. Early on, the booking agents and agencies do send me the notices, and so we were able to identify them. But that's one of the things that I was really blessed to work with Ish on for decades, and then specifically around the Concert of Colors for the last so many years. And that was identifying this world of potential that we can pull from and bring into our community. Those that are familiar to us, like Still Pulse, might be familiar. They've been around a long time. But then we have some new folks that maybe folks have not experienced before, and we get to bring in all this interesting cultural contemporary traditions, as well as, folks who are following age-old patterns that are true to their ethnic history.
And Njia, putting this on and understanding and seeing all the musicians and different bands and cultures that are represented through music, what's one sound or one genre that surprised you when you heard it and said, oh my gosh, I never really thought I would get into this, but I got into it?
Well, that's a good question. That's a great question. I would say that was really part of my growing up into programming world music, was really learning to open my ears and allow myself to enjoy and learn the quality that is expressed by a lot of different people in a lot of different ways, on a lot of different instruments, in a lot of different languages. And not everybody's on a 4/4 beat.
Yeah.
And so it's been really wonderful to experience and have opportunity to share with our community all these different folks. So, for instance, we have the Cambodian band Dengue Fever.
Yes.
And they are coming from L.A. They have been around for a while. They have a kind of Cambodian pop sound. It just happened that you guys on public radio had a interview with Dengue Fever on yesterday, I believe. I heard it while I was driving. And so, that band has a long history, and they have been, I believe we were the very first ones at the Detroit Festival of the Arts to bring Dengue Fever to Detroit. And they were just acquiring an agent and all that kind of carrying on. So, for long story short, there's Cambodian. I mean, we have a lot of Mexican, Latin, Hispanic performances that will be included, both local performers as well as those coming from other places, including Las Cafeteras, who are just a Chicano fun band. Dance is what's on their card. So they're coming from L.A. We have Soñes de Mexico, and please excuse me if I'm not good on the accents, but they are coming from Chicago, and that is part, let me segue to this, that is part of our collaboration this year with two national entities, both of whom Ismael had specific relationships with. He was on advisory councils or committees or partnered with them over the years. One being the National Endowment for the Arts. And the National Endowment for the Arts has two major programs that we're benefiting from this year. One is their Jazz Masters program, where they identify masters of jazz and honor them each year. And then the other is the National Heritage Fellows program. And Soñes de Mexico is a recipient, the designee of the National Heritage Award, and it because of the fact that they have held true to that traditional culture and are excellent performers and purveyors of that culture. And then with the Jazz Masters program, we have invited two jazz masters, Carmen Lundy, who is vocalist extraordinaire, and then Gary Bartz, who is a saxophonist and has been engaged with Detroit artists for many, many years. They are both coming with their own ensembles. They will both perform on Sunday evening at the DIA's Detroit Film Theater. But they also are going to engage in a conversation with Linda Yan, who many of us in Detroit remember as a longtime jazz radio host. She will be the moderator for a conversation with them at 2 o'clock in the lecture hall at the DIA on Sunday.
You pulled out the greats. You pulled out the greats for that conversation. Yeah. I remember listening when I was younger. As soon as I heard the name, I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing and that's huge. And I know that folks in the city who drove around the city listening to jazz and drove around listening to it on the radio when it was everywhere, you will remember that name, and especially the masters. But I do want to move us through the conversation, and you brought up a good point, because you're talking about other things that are happening alongside Concert of Colors, not just the concerts that are happening in music, which of course gathers everyone together, but there are so many different things presented by the Arab American Museum. You have at the Majestic Theater a community forum moderated by NPR's Neda Ulabi. What's that about?
That's really great. The Arab American National Museum has traditionally provided at least one forum during the Concert of Colors week. And this one is open to the public. It's going to happen at the Majestic, as you said. That'll be, is that Sunday or Saturday? It's Saturday. Saturday at 1 o'clock at the Majestic Theater. And that conversation is going to bring a number of folks who have been in the arts for quite some time. And our own Sabrina Nelson will be the keynote speaker for that. Ms. Ulabi will be the moderator, and there are panelists who are going to discuss where we're at and what we're looking to do as we move forward. And that's one thing I love about Detroit. We deal with what we got to deal with today, but we're looking forward. How can we grow? How can we improve? What can we bring in? So that will be, that conversation will move in that direction.
Love that. I want to say shout out to Sabrina Nelson, who is a friend of WDET. Love that so very much. Now, it is the Metro on WDET, Detroit Public Radio. I am Tia Graham, and my guest is Njia Kai, the organizer for the Concert of Colors Festival. It's free, and it starts tomorrow, runs through Sunday. WDET is a proud media partner, and you can see the full lineup at concertofcolors.com. Now, we mentioned Ismael before, but I think we should talk a little bit more about Ismael Ahmed and everything that he brought to Concert of Colors. He was Concert of Colors. He co-founded it and left his mark on the world in so many different ways. Now, Concert of Colors is, once again, a part of his legacy to bring culture to all people across the globe. Since Ismael's passing earlier this year, is there anything about how he approached the Concert of Colors that sticks with you?
Well, to be honest about it, Ismael was always ahead. So he didn't wait till the last minute to get things done. And so he had created an outline for this year's festival before his health really started to challenge him so greatly. So we have picked up that outline, and we have carried it out and enhanced or filled in the gaps where they existed. So this is really a reflection of his worldview, his perspective. One thing Ish was clear about was that we are all brothers and sisters.
All brothers and sisters.
And that we should all take care of each other. And anybody who met him heard those words at some point along the way. So we are following that perspective. We it's just slipped. Sorry. I was thinking, I get to thinking about him and I go into my visions. And, we were great friends for a long time. And I certainly honor and respect him for the man that he was, for the institution builder that he was. His institutions still stand. This Concert of Colors is a 35th event. And the access not only has stood, but also grown with several different replications of that service in many communities. The fact that he created the CEN, the Cultural Exchange Network, all which helped to found Concert of Colors, because it brought 60-some different ethnic organizations in the Metro Detroit area together, and then created an opportunity like the Concert of Colors for folks to come together, because he did believe, and we've seen it be true, that music brings us together across all kinds of things that look dissimilar or look divisive. And so, we use the culture, we use the music, we use the dance, the colors, the food. We bring it all together and emphasize sharing it with our young people, having them engaged, not just attending, but having them engaged so that they can carry on this whole perspective of what we want to see this world be.
Now, As I mentioned, it's been 35 years since the Concert of Colors here in Detroit. You talked about it as well. What's different about the festival now compared to its earlier days? And what was laid out for you all explicitly from Ismael about this year?
Well, let me say that he said this one should be the biggest and the best. So we are really working to make that happen. And, of course, the Concert of Colors started small. It certainly wasn't 5 days, and it wasn't in 12 different locations. And so it has grown tremendously through collaboration and partnership. I remember when I had a youth program back in the late 90s, early 2000s, and we used to have a outreach table at Shane Park because it was held there at a certain point at Shane Park along that walkway, encouraging folks to engage their young people in our event. Also, though, I do have to mention that this year, because of his national presence, the Smithsonian Festival of Festivals has joined with us as an excellent supporter, and they will be here with their We Hold These Truths initiative to gather comments from the local community about what we think after 250 years we should be aiming for as a collective.
And I'm really looking forward to hearing what they collect from the city. I know they've been around the city most of the summer so far, hitting different concerts and cultural events, asking that question to different folks. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they put together. Before we get you out of here, recruiting for volunteers. You want the volunteers for folks who are interested in supporting and helping this 35th edition of Concert of Colors, of course, expanding on Ismael's wishes. You know, how should they get in contact?
Yeah, please go to the website, concertofcolors.com. There is a place where you can connect with us with your desire to volunteer, and we absolutely welcome you and look forward to meeting you and engaging you in the activity of the event.
Njia Kai is the organizer for Concert of Colors. The Concert of Colors starts tomorrow and runs through Sunday. You can see the full lineup at concertofcolors.com. And there's also going to be a live performance from pianist Michael Malice on WDET this week. That's Friday at 2 p.m. during In the Groove. And Njia, as always, thank you so much for joining us on the Metro.
Thank you. And I forgot to say, everything is admission free.
Free.com. Coming up, tonight's the Major League Baseball All-Star Game. The players on the field are the best in the world and represent a number of nationalities and ethnicities. But the earliest chapters of history for America's pastime were segregated. We'll hear about one man who played a pivotal role in organizing the Negro Leagues nearly 100 years ago. We'll find out how Rube Foster did it. That's next on The Metro.